Tonight we had the greatest introduction of our lives.
I know, he even gave me an idea.
I have a question for you. How are you tonight?
Very good, thank you.
Verch, they're singing crowd. I think we're in for a good time.
Amen.
Yeah. We'll start off with a couple of versions of Arkansas Traveling. The first version from John Arcan, the great native fiddle from Western Canada. And then we'll go back to the source and we'll play a version of Arkansas Traveling right from Arkansas.
Right.
April and I have been playing together since 2016. We sort of got together when our other collaborations were on a break. And we came together because we have a mutual friend named Janet Kenway in Aberdeen, North Carolina, near where I live. Janet is a presenter. She had a venue called The Rooster's Wife. And I started getting these calls, like fairly late at night. Joe, it's Janet. You should play with April. Click. It kept happening. And then she started calling April. April, it's Janet. You should play with Joe Newberry. And so literally we finally got together just to shut her up. And we're really glad that she kept after us because we have a ball.
in Missouri, lives in North Carolina now. And so tonight we'll give you sort of a sample of some of the stuff that we love to play. Some of it is stuff that we grew up with in our respective traditions. Some of it is inspired by our travels and music that we've heard along the way and people that we've met. And we both love to write music, so it's kind of a blend of those things. But this next medley of tunes are both from the old-time American tradition. The first one is called The Pride of America, and it's a tune that I learned from Jerry Carell, a great fiddle player who lives in Grayson County, Virginia. And he was the first old-time fiddler to tell me that it was okay for me, as a Canadian gal, to play some old-time American tunes. And he has a vast collection of field recordings and likes to send my husband Cody and I CDs, and they're titled Rare Gems from Old Dead Guys. And that's where we learned Pride of America, and so we'll start off with that one.
We'll follow it up with a song that comes from the British Isles. It made its way across the Atlantic to the Appalachians, and like my folks, headed west to Arkansas. And it's the song is pretty poly. We've adjusted a little bit, but I've got lots of favorite versions of it. But one of my true favorites is that Nest of Singing Birds in Madison County, North Carolina. All ballad singers, and in Madison County they call murder ballads love songs. So we'll follow up Pride of America with a good old-fashioned love song.
She threw her arms around him.
not suffering no fear. Turn your arms around you, not suffering no fear. How can you kill a poor girl? She's loved you so dear. She stabbed him in his heart blood did flow. She stabbed him in his heart blood did flow. Into the tomb, old Willie did roll. She kicks under over him, turned to go home. Kicks under over him, turned to go home. Nothing but the wild birds to weep and to moan. You might have noticed a little twist in that tune. I have daughters, and I got to tell you, I was just about sick of yet another song about, oh, I love you so much, I'm going to take you into the woods and do away with you. The first time we ever did that turn was down in Dahlonega, Georgia, and I'm not lying, women all over the crowd stood up and went, yeah!
And now we'll do a real love song. Many of you already know this, but if you don't already know, you will by the end of our concert. Joe is an amazing songwriter, and that's one of my favorite things about this duo is getting to play and sing on some of the songs that he wrote. And I don't really have a favorite, that would be impossible. But this next one is definitely in my top 5. I love the song, but it also reminds me of the first time that we met. And we did things a little bit backwards. We actually booked some shows and then met for the first time, which isn't career advice I would give to anyone, but we got lucky and it worked out okay. And when Joe showed up at my place for that first rehearsal, he had just finished co-writing this song, and so when he pulled his guitar out of the case, it was the first one to come to mind and the very first thing that we ever tried playing and singing together. And so when we play it, it kind of takes me back to that time, and a lot of the music that we play does that for me. It takes me back to a time and place, and so that makes it extra special.
For many years, I played banjo with Jim Watson, Bill Hicks, and Mike Craver of the Red Clay Ramblers. And my friend Cy Kahn used to come hear us play. Cy likes my songwriting, and so, do you know Cy's music? Yeah. Gone, Gonna Rise Again, and Aragon Mill, and I'm gonna go to work on Monday one more time. Anyway, I got an email out of the blue. Hi, Joe. Cy Kahn here. Would you come to Charlotte and write with me? Love, Cy. By the time he hit send, I was at his door. And Mr. Monroe would tell you that the best stories are true stories. I knocked on his door. He flung the door open and said, "Here's a chorus, write some verses." And I did. And I love singing and playing this with April Verch. I'm going home. I've wandered far, away from friends and everything I knew. I left my home, I left my kin. Sadder yet, I left you. I'm going home. I'm going home. have been away too long. I'm going home. I'm going home. Did you miss me while I was gone? Did you miss me while I was gone? This hard old world beat me down till I was black and blue. The music gone, no more the same. Nothing left I found true. I'm going home. I'm going home. I have been away too long. I'm going home. I'm going home. Did you miss me while I was gone? Did you miss me while I was gone? As I lay down in some old barn, I dreamed a dream last night of you. You said you'd keep me from harm if one favor I would do. You said, come on home, come on home. You have been away too long. Come on home, come on home. I have missed you while you were gone. I have missed you while you were gone. Did you miss you while I was gone? I have missed you while you was gone. Well, we're going to play a medley of two fiddle tunes for you next. We're going to play one that we both grew up with and we both thought was from our tradition. Actually, this is a good tour season for us because a couple of weeks ago we got to play in my hometown in the Ottawa Valley, and then in a few weeks we're going to be playing some shows in Joe's hometowns and kind of trading back and forth. But it's been interesting to kind of tell this story, and we'll be in Missouri as well. My dad, Ralph, if you've seen me perform before, you've probably heard me talk about him because he was a huge influence, is a huge influence on my music. He plays guitar and sings old country songs, but he's the biggest fiddle fan I've ever met.
we used to sit down and he'd play the great Canadian fiddle legends on his old vinyl records and tell me why they were the best and which ones were the best tunes, and I'd try to pick out the notes, and I have fond memories of that. And one of those records was by Don Messer, who was from the east coast of Canada. Fiddle fans might know his name. He had a radio and a television broadcast every week all across the nation. So he was a very important figure in the music, and a lot of people followed him. In fact, when his show went off the air, there was a motion in Parliament to bring it back. That's how popular he was. And so he played a version of the Red Fox Waltz, and I just assumed it was a great old-time Canadian tune.
Meanwhile, in Missouri, I grew up in a singing family, and I started playing guitar when I was about 14 to accompany my family, but I knew fiddlers in mid-Missouri where I had moved. And I was at the Boone County Fair when I was 15, walking down the Midway, doing everything a 15-year-old does at a county fair. I was eating way too much cotton candy, too many big giant turkey legs, too many rides in the tilt-a-whirl. Note to everyone, eat the turkey legs after the tilt-a-whirl. So I'm walking down the Midway, and I hear fiddle music. And I literally pivoted. And I walked into the Boone County Fiddle Contest and into my future. There on the stage were all of my future heroes, including Taylor McBain. And Taylor McBain's favorite waltz was Red Fox Waltz. Now I have a question. Are there any, do we have any guitar players here? Guitar owners? Do we have guitar owners? You can back up, you can back up this song perfectly serviceably with just D, G, and A. But Taylor liked minor chords, and he called minor chords $10 chords. So we'll do it straight, just D, A, and G, then we'll put a couple of $10 chords in Taylor's memory, and then we'll go into Red Fox. Now, you know she's a great fiddler in the Canadian style, in the Southern Appalachian style. I will tell you that it was on our first road trip together. April and I discovered that we both love 1940s and 50s country music. And she loves playing honky-tonk fiddle.
I have to tell you that when we got here today, you know how you get somewhere and it reminds you of something. It didn't hit me right away until I walked into the room where I'm staying, and I realized a few years ago I put out a recording that is exclusively 40s and 50s country music.
So good.
And recorded it in Nashville, and it was right here in that room where I hired the producer and the engineer for the project. And I looked at the chair and I was like, that's where I was sitting. And it ended up just being such a special time and a highlight, and so I remembered that as soon as we got here.
How cool. I like playing a lot of different kinds of music, and I will tell you that I wrote a play with a friend of mine some years ago. It was a hillbilly music version of Midsummer Night's Dream called Moonshine. And in the play, Puck, that trickster, that naughty Puck, takes powdered moonshine and sprinkles it on people, and that's how he makes his tricks. Now, the main character in the play is a guitar player. And he has a dream. All Midsummer Night productions have to have a dream sequence. This is ours. He dreams that he dies and goes to heaven because he's a guitar player. He goes to honky-tonk heaven. Now, I will tell you, just like on the airplanes, when the nearest exit may be behind you, and they talk about the peanut allergies, I'm duty-bound to tell you this has a yodel warning. So if I say yodel, don't look left or right, look right at me. I had a dream last night. I was drawn to a neon light. Pete, the doorman, he told me to go on in. Walking through the door, I heard walking the floor. When I saw who was there, it made me grin. On stage was a honky-tonk trinity, Lefty, Hank, and Old E.T. Salvation, and the beer is free in honky-tonk heaven. Don't think about it, just try it. In honky-tonk heaven. I'm proud of you. As I floated toward the stage, Hank sang about the lost highway. Ernest Tubb sang a song about the Texas tea. Lefty said, I put new strings on a big guitar with wings. The next I knew, he had handed it to me. We sang a song about Nashville, Tennessee. Lefty, Hank, E.T. and me in Fort Park, hillbilly harmony. Go! In gotta get up, get out of this single bed. But things are not all bad.
switching to a double bed today. I'm glad I got down on one knee. She's gonna walk down the aisle and marry me. And tonight I know that we will be what? In heart. I'm gonna be good so I can see Lefty Hank, OBT, and then spend my eternity. Everybody in heart. Up in
State. Here's how they yodel. So thank you very much.
Well, I'm lucky to have some familiar faces in this audience and some friends, and it's always amazing to me how our paths cross over the years, and friends meet again along the way. And my friends Karen and Gordon here, I actually know them because my husband Cody and I lived in Horseshoe, North Carolina, right next to Karen's sister Vicki. And they became, Vicki and Chunk, became very close friends of me and Cody, and we've moved away from there now, and we miss them a lot. But Vicki and I would often walk together as often as we could, and right at the end of our road there was a cemetery. And one day I was walking there alone, and I was walking by a really old stone that had this poem inscribed on it. I've got a little bit of a ring, Terry. I think just bring this vocal mic down.
I think a knob got
Maybe
turned
both of them,
and-
actually.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I read it and immediately thought, oh, that would make an amazing song. And so my friend John Weisberger and I, we often write together, and I told him about this verse, and he loved it as well. So we looked it up. We trusted Google that it is really public domain. And we used the poem from that gravestone as the chorus of our song, and we put some verses around it. And this is the song that we ended up with. So send it out to Karen and Gordon tonight. This is called Tune Thy Heart.
I have a question. Could we try this old school without any mics at all? I think that would be very old time. Let's do right here.
Oh, think on me as you pass by, as you are now, so once was I, as I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me. No easy work my grave to find, where moss and withered branches twine, entombed in faith's forgotten past. So tune thy heart by what will last. Oh, think on me as you pass by, as you are now, so once was I, as I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me. My race is run, this stone you see. The toil is done, I've been set free. Seize now the time to make things right, lest your best days should turn to night. Oh, once was I, as I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me. O stranger, make thy vow today, and strive to walk the narrow way. At heaven's gate I'll welcome thee, to live with him eternally.
Oh, think on me
As you pass by, as you are now, so once was I, as I am now, so must you be. Prepare for death and follow me. Prepare for death and follow me. Very nice. Well, we're going to do one more set of tunes before we take a little break and give you a chance to stretch and visit. We'll end with banjo and feet here. And the style of dancing that I do is called Ottawa Valley step dancing. Comes from that region where I grew up and originated in the logging camps and has a lot of different influences. So if you recognize something, you're right. I love dancing to Joe's banjo playing, and when we do this, I never really dance steps anymore. It's always just kind of whatever comes to my head, listening to the tune. And Joe does the same thing when he's playing. He's listening, and if I dance something he likes, he'll try to mimic that back, and we kind of pass it back and forth a little bit, which makes it extra fun.
I liken it to two old friends tossing the baseball on the back lawn. And I play clawhammer banjo. I play with the backs of my fingernails, and I do, it's a downstroke motion. And so I'll play a little bit of Backstep Cindy from Surrey County, North Carolina, and then Mississippi Sawyer, because it's from everywhere. I see you looking at me tuning. Think of me like I was an aircraft mechanic. I mean, you're sitting there in your window seat. You're watching them work on an engine. You don't mind waiting for them to do their job. Same with tuning a banjo. things like this because you see old friends and you make new friends. And imagine the joy on a child's face because the holidays are just around the corner. We brought some things that will bring a smile to Sunday. If you don't buy a single thing, we'd love to see you and say hey and howdy. And to quote our friend Jim Watson from the Red Clay Ramblers, we will take a 5-minute break for 10 minutes, and we will see you in 20. We've got some folks coming. We'll let everybody sort of filter in. If there's anybody in the outlying rooms, I think we should tell them to get in here, so let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Get in here! We miss you. 1, 2, 3. We miss you! There you go. How was your break? Was your break good? We got to missing you, so we came back out. We'll do a set of completely different songs. How about a hand for Terry and Deborah? And all of the volunteers. You know, a lot of folks, when they come out to start the second set, they'll play something a million miles an hour. And because there was so much great conversation and so many folks visiting, we thought we'd sort of, if it's okay, to just sort of slip into the second set. Is that all right with you? We'll do another song that I wrote with Tsai Khan. And it's about where I grew up in, my family's from the Ozarks, but I lived in southeast Missouri, in that little area called the Boot here, which juts down into Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee. It's actually the start of the Mississippi Delta. It's cotton country. It's flat, it's swampy, and it grows some of the highest quality cotton anywhere in the world. I don't know if my Missouri friends ever did this, but I'm probably the only person here who used to get out of school for cotton vacation. But it was not a vacation. Because Dunklin County is a very rural place. And so the cotton machines and the combines would go through, and then we'd all get behind and we'd make sure that we could get as much cotton out of that field as possible. I still see those white fields, as white as any Christmas snow. Now, I love banjo. I was talking to somebody about banjo, and I love guitar. When I wrote this song with Cy, I did not hear banjo. What I heard was a string trio. And so April has tuned her violin down from G, D, A, E, standard fiddle tuning, to a low D on the 4th string, and then another D, so it's D, D, A, D. We call the tuning D-Dad. I'm not going to play anything. April's going to play, and I'm going to sing to you about my dear childhood days. I was born on a farm in southeast Missouri, the place where my parents both were raised. At night when I sleep, I dream of the lowland and the long fields of cotton of my dear childhood days. Who can still remember? Who smells the new mown hay and the white fields of September of my dear childhood days? We moved from on the phone to a town in the boot heel. You could still see the barn through evening's haze. The fireflies would blink their song in the darkness, bringing me dreams in my dear childhood days. Who can still remember? Who smells the new mown hay and the white fields of September of my dear childhood days? Farms have all gone to blacktop and houses, to paved over dreams where no child plays. Do what you will, I refuse to surrender my memories of home and my dear childhood days. Who can still remember? Who smells the new mown hay and the white fields of September of my dear childhood days?
we have to do more than one, because it takes the instrument a minute to settle in there.
The other thing that April's not going to tell you, but I'll self-own this. I sing about home, and I get a little carried away. I'm one of those folks that could cry at a Kleenex commercial. And so we started putting that second tune in there just to let the old man get a hold of himself. That tune was called Yellin' in the Shoats. Those baby pigs, it's a 3-part tune. In the first part of the tune, farmer calls the pigs. Second part, here come the pigs. Third part, they chase the pigs.
We're going to sing another song that I wrote with my friend John Weisberger, and I mentioned the logging tradition in the Ottawa Valley. That was a story I heard a lot of, when I was growing up. I started learning to step dance when I was 3. And our teacher used to tell us the stories all the time about the lumberjacks working hard and then going back to the shanty house and sharing the tunes and songs and steps that they remembered. And I heard it so much it just sort of seemed like a faraway legend. And then I got a little bit older and started looking through some family photo albums and saw that we had people in our family that had worked in those camps, and started asking questions and hearing the stories. And it was such a long, dangerous season of work. And a lot of the people had just arrived in the valley as a family and then had to separate, and the men went to these camps and left the rest of the family behind. So John and I wrote this song, and it's not a true story, but it's what we imagined life might have been like for a brand new couple who had just met when that season began. And it's called Will You Wait for Me? I am going across the valley. Darling, will you wait for me? Through the long and lonely winter, till my face once more you'll see. Will you keep the ring I gave you, and tell none that you are free? When the flowers of spring are blooming, then it's married we will be. I recall the night we met, dear, as the summer breeze did blow. How I held you as we danced, dear, never wanting to let go. With the moon as our companion, as the stars blinked one by one, these are memories I will cling to till my season's work is done. Cry
know, you might notice that Ms. Verch has changed her footwear.
Usually, you can't see my feet tonight. Usually I come back out for the second set and I see shoes. So my black shoes that I was wearing before have metal taps on the bottom. And now I'm wearing beige shoes, and they have sandpaper on the bottom. And we use them for some soft shoe foot percussion on a couple of songs. And in case you like it and you want to go home and try it, 120 grit sandpaper is exactly what you want.
Do we have any John Hertford fans here tonight? Boy, we sure do miss that man. He was a man of many talents. You know, he had what he called his money song, Gentle on My Mind, one of the most recorded songs of the 20th century. And that allowed him to do anything pretty much that he wanted to do and was interested in. He was interested in a lot of things. He was a certified steamboat pilot on the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. He was a beautiful calligrapher. He could write with his right hand and do a mirror image at the same time with his left hand. He also had an amazing sense of humor. It's a sort of a quirky sense of humor. And this song on Christmas Eve is John's humor to a T. Ain't you got no family? No place to be? Out on the river on Christmas Eve? Bonfire on the bank, hard bend to the right, on the lower Mississippi, full moon tonight, where the Spanish moss hangs from the tree, down in Louisiana on Christmas Eve. That muddy water never quite comes clean when you're trying to find a reason why I want to be here.
Ain't you got no family?
No place to be. Out on the river on Christmas Eve. You can see your reflection on this inky black night. I'm watching the shoreline come into sight. I want to hear steam, just want to feel wind, see the pitman on, go around again. That muddy water never quite comes clean when you're trying to find a reason why I want to be here.
Ain't you got no family?
No place to be. Out on the river on Christmas Eve. Ain't it good? Oh yeah. Bonfire on the bank, hard bend to the right, on the lower Mississippi, full moon tonight, where the Spanish moss hangs from the tree, down in Louisiana on Christmas Eve. That muddy water never quite comes clean when you're trying to find a reason why I want to be here. Ain't you got no family?
Ain't you got no family?
No place to be.
No place to be.
Out on the river on Christmas Eve. Ain't you got no family? No place to be. Out on the river on Christmas Eve. as with the fiddle tuning, we have the rule of two. When the shoes get changed, we have the rule of two. It's just science. And we'll do one more. It's a song that I wrote. I wrote it, the first verse came to my mind, standing in line, the whole verse dropped down in my head. Standing in line at the post office waiting to buy stamps for my Christmas cards. And when the muse approaches you like that, you listen. And so I turned over one of the envelopes and I wrote down the verse on the back. Somebody did not get a Christmas card that week. Like I said, I come from a singing family, but my parents loved all kinds of music. My mother loved everything from the Grand Opera to the Grand Ole Opry and big band music, and my folks loved the Mills Brothers. My mother's favorite singing group, was the Mills Brothers. And I wrote this song, Baby I'm Blue, in the style of the Mills Brothers. But the Mills Brothers were not her favorite entertainer. That honor fell to Lawrence Welk. And I would be sitting in my sullen little teenage bubble in my room, and I would hear my mother call, "Josephus, get in here, Lawrence is on." And I would trudge in, and I'd sigh with every step. And I'd sit down and I'd watch Lawrence with my mother. And what I wouldn't give to hear that one more time. And so my mother was ill for a good portion of the last of her life. Hard days. She had hard days. She had good days. And a really good day was when my dad brought home 2 tickets to see Lawrence Welk at the Shrine Auditorium in Springfield. You have never seen such gussying that went on. A new dress from the department store. The reddest lipstick she could find. On the way out the door, that last little spritz of Estee Lauder thing. So they go to the show, and right there in the middle of the concert, Lawrence steps up to a mic just about like this, and he says, "I wonder if there are any ladies in the audience who would like to dance." And my frail, sick little mother ran up the center aisle, beat every woman in the joint there, first in line to dance with Lawrence, and got her picture on the front page of the Springfield News and Leader the next day. It was a big night for Virginia music. And I love playing and singing this with April Verch, and I can't think about doing this song without thinking of my good old mom and how much she would have been tickled that I wrote a song in the style of the Mills Brothers. So we'll do it for you. It's called Baby I'm Blue. Before you, blue was a color so splendid. I slept the night through. Blue was just something the wind did. I lost you. That's something I never intended to do. Baby, I'm blue. Before you, blew through my life like a trade wind. Blue was the mark of a true friend. When I lost you, I learned how much I depended. Oh, I depended on you. Baby, I'm blue.
before you blew out a spark that was kindred. Who knew that kind of love could have ended? My heart has a tear that will never be mended, at least not by you. Baby, I'm blue before you. Oh, blue was a color so splendid, I slept the night through, and blue was just something the wind did. I lost you, that's something I never intended, for I depended on you. Baby, I'm blue. It's sad, but it's true, I'm lost without you. Baby, I'm blue.
Well, we're going to play a couple more fiddle tunes as a fiddle banjo duet. Just to keep things even, we'll play one from Canada and one from the US. Thank you all for paying your tariffs in the other room in the break. This first tune is one of my dad's favorites. It's called Shingle the Roof, and it was made famous, not written by, but made famous by Ivan Hicks from New Brunswick. And I often, when we play it, think of the first time I met Ivan. My sister and I got to go on a bus trip for free from Pembroke all the way out to the Maritimes. All we had to do was play in the aisles to entertain the passengers on the bus, which was a bumpy experience, but it was a good thing we had some dance training. Ivan and his lovely wife Vivian, who plays piano, were there, and that was the first time that I got to meet them, and they are just wonderful musicians and people and have done so much for our fiddle community in Canada. So we'll start with that tune, Shingle the Roof, and then go into one called Comin' Up the Pike.
decided that we would not bring other numbers from our other collaborations into what we do. So you won't hear music that you would hear with the April Verch Band. You won't hear songs and tunes that I did with the mandolinist Matt Compton. What you hear when you come to a Newberry and Verch show is just what we bring to you. And my friends, the Gibson Brothers, great bluegrass band from upstate New York, we've worked together a lot. They've recorded a lot of my songs, including this one, Jericho. And they stopped doing it. And so I called Eric and I said, Eric, if you're not going to be doing that song, April and I would like to put that in our program. He said, oh yeah, do that, Joe. That'd be great. And I said, well, just also, you're not doing it anymore. Is there a problem with it? He said, well, Joe, it's kind of, bluegrass is very bang, 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 bang. And this has, in Missouri, we would call it a hitch in the get-along. It's got a little cricket part in it. And it didn't suit the Gibsons, but if there was ever a fiddler in the world who likes a cricket tune, she's standing right there. So much. Oh, also, it's a country song that ends well, and that doesn't happen. We courted in the summer, we married in the fall. I had to leave to find some work, no work around home at all. I'm going back to Jericho, I'm going back to Jericho. See that girl that I love so, Jericho. My wife shines brighter than the moon, or the stars or sun. The harvest here will be done soon. It's 6 months I've been gone. I'm going back to Jericho. I'm going back to Jericho. See that girl that I love so, Jericho. Set my heart the world. It said you ought to come home, hon, and meet your baby girl. So I'm going back to Jericho. I'm going back to Jericho. See those girls that I love so, Jericho. I will be a rich man, as rich as I can be, and you will see my treasure bouncing on my knee. When I'm going back to Jericho, I'm going back to Jericho. See those girls that I love so, Jericho. No matter wrong, I go home to Jericho.
more of this these days. And we thank you for making it possible and for all of you coming to gather. And we hope to see you again soon. We'll leave you with a big set of tunes.
We built it into the tariff.
You've already proved that you can sing. So here's one.
I learned this song, and Evelyn and I don't do it all the time, but I learned this song from a guy named Wade Maynard. He was part of Maynard's Mountaineers, he and his brother J.E. Wade, in 1940, moved up to Flint, Michigan to build cars from North Carolina. and stayed. He lived to be 103. Now, here's your part, and it's sort of it's probably what you wanted to do anyway tonight, is to tell me to sit down. So, but you have to say it a certain way. Imagine your grandbaby, your child, your great niece or nephew standing up at a fancy restaurant in the high chair with a handful of peas and another handful of mashed potatoes. And you don't say, "Oh, darling, you need to sit down." No. You say, "Sit down." Try it. Sit down. I'm going to cue you with a nod of the headstock. So we're going to try it once. Sit down. That's it. Look at those people that are dressed in white. Sit down. Look at those people dressed in white. Sit down. Look at those people that are dressed in white. They look like the children of the Israelites.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
I said sit down.
You know I can't sit down. I just got to heaven and I've got to walk around. Look at those people that are dressed in red. Sit down. Look at those people dressed in red. Sit down. Oh, look at those people that are dressed in red. They look like the band that Moses led.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
Sit down. Come on now, sit down.
You know I can't sit down. I've just got to heaven and I've got to walk around. Look at those people that are dressed in blue. Sit down. Look at those people dressed in blue. Sit down. Look at those people that are dressed in blue. Swear they're working on a building too.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
I said sit down.
You know I can't sit down. Why? I just got to heaven and I got to walk around. Look at those people that are dressed in black. Sit down. Look at those people dressed in black. Sit down. I say the prayer for the people that are dressed in black. Our souls are lost, we might not be back.
Sit down.
I can't sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Come on now, sit down.
You know